Well, Jarron is, he's like, when he comes in, he always got this big smile. You know, if you really know Jarron, you'll love him. If you really know him, who he is, his personality, that's the type of personality he has. He's friendly. I've been in this neighborhood since 2000, since '06. Half the people over here, I don't even know him. But he know him because he friends with people. He talks to people, you know, they have concerts over here. He was parking cars, and when it snowed, he go get a shovel, shoveling out people's driveways to make him a few dollars. You know, and everybody knew him about Jarron and the cowboy boots because he have his cowboy boots on. And
what's the significant about the cowboy boots?
I don't know what was it. That he loved those cowboy boots.
What color were they?
They were some snakeskin boots.
Oh, that's probably why.
Yeah, he had these boots on. He wore them. I mean, right up here on Martin Luther King, they have concerts. He come around the corner on the cars because he done talk to the people on the opposite side, close to Martin Luther King. You know, can I park cars near your him and somebody make a deal, and they get full, and I look up and he like, Mama, tell them where to park. And I look up out the window. He sitting on the people's cars in his cowboy boots and his t-shirt. Hop off the and go back around there and park cars. But that was just him. Like I said, if you really, really know him, you will love him because that's the kind of what he left with you. Because he always smiling. He always figuring it out. You know, a couple people he walked around here was a man doing roofs on houses. He walked around and the man come over here, started getting him to help do the roof and laying carpet. And, you know, he was, you know, he was a good kid. You know.
So he also had a son, you told me. Yeah, he has a child.
Yes, he do. He have a 6-year-old son. Okay. His name is Jarron Jr.
Jarron Jr. You think we can get Jarron Jr. to come out for a minute?
Jarron! Come here, Jarron, real quick.
So he's playing. He'll come out later.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He loved his son, and he loved his son. He loved his son, and he loved his mama.
Yes. Come here. Come here for a minute.
He loved his son, and he loved his mama. His girlfriend, you know, he got with her, which is Tamisha. He got with her and started helping with her son. So, you know, he did a lot with these boys, you know, trying to do, you know, something better.
So he was family person oriented.
Yes, he was a family person.
So, did Jarron have, and I have to touch bases with this because, you know, a lot of people have reports on it. Did he have any prior run-ins with the law, anything of that nature?
Yeah, he had been in trouble. He'd been in trouble before. He'd been in trouble before. He'd been to prison, but he got out and chose to move away from the east side, from everybody, to go live in Moore because he said he didn't want to go back and be in jail because he wanted to be out here to help raise his son.
So you stay in Oklahoma City,
yes.
But Jarron gets out of prison and goes and moves to Moore.
Yes.
Okay.
He called me one day and he said, Mama, I don't want to be over here on the east side no more because if I keep staying over here, being around people, I'm going to end up back in trouble or something, you know, and I don't want to be over here. Can you help me move to Moore? And I told him, yes, I would do everything I can to help him get away from over here. That's what he wanted.
So what was your feeling when he said that? It seems like a moment of, I want to change my life. How did that make you feel?
It made me feel good because he came to me and he asked me. I didn't go to him. He came to me and told me that he don't want to be around. You know, he want to be just away. He want to go where nobody knows him.
Right. So he's in Moore. And what was he doing in Moore? Was he working or?
Yes, he was working. Me and him both was working for Labor Ready.
Okay.
And he worked at Burger King. And he cut yards. I can't think of the man's name. Over here off of, this man had a company, and he used to cut yards with this man. I can't think his name right off.
So he worked every day?
He tried to do something. I'm not going to say he worked every day, but he did. Me and him worked right off of 59th and Sooner. It was a church that had burned down, and they was redoing it. We had to pull the carpet up, take the, you know, me and him both did that together for like 3 weeks.
How long did he serve in jail, in prison?
He was in there, what, 2 years, I do believe.
2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you see a change in him when he got out?
Yes. Yes.
So describe how he went in and describe how he came out.
When he went in, he was a lot of play. He wasn't listening. He wanted to hang with the same people, and I used to tell him, baby, them people don't mean you no good. People that you think is your friend, they ain't your friend. Well, after he got in and went to prison and he got out, when he got out, he realized what I was telling him. Mm-hmm. That, you know, they don't, you know, he told me, Mom, you know, you told me that I can't trust everybody. Everybody ain't my friend. And I'm like, no, they not. No, they not.
So take me to the day you found out that, was he reported missing?
No, his girlfriend, Tamisha, she called me and she said that a guy took Jarron up to Crest, and the guy came back and told her that Jarron got into a white van, and when Jarron got into a white van, they said that the guy told her that the passenger shot Jarron in the head, and he said that they drove off and Jarron was slumped over this way. But I know when you shoot somebody in the head, they don't go forward, they go backwards.
So someone took Jarron to the Crest.
Yeah, it was a guy. It was a guy living in apartments. Took Jarron to Crest.
So there's a third person here then.
It's a guy that, he the one drove Jarron to Crest.
And Alize.
No, Alize was not with Jarron. Alize was at Crest when Jarron got there.
Okay,
so they met there.
Yes.
Yeah, they met at Crest. They met at Crest.
So let's back up right quick. So Jarron goes to Crest.
Yes, sir.
On his own. Alize was already at Crest.
Yes.
Correct? And someone took Jarron to Crest.
Yes, and he told me as soon as Jarron got in the van, the passenger turned around and shot him.
If you can, possibly on record, do you know who this person is?
I don't know his name. I don't know his name. I have went and talked to him myself, but I honestly couldn't tell you. I believe the detectives and more talked to him. I don't know what his name is.
So did Jarron tell you why he was going to Crest or anything like that? Did the girlfriend say what was the purpose? Did she say that?
She said he got a text from Alize to say meet him at Crest. And when Jarron got there, he said as soon as they got in the dude, that's when the guy said as soon as they got in the car, Jarron was shot and he fell forward.
So a lot of people were asking this question. Did Jarron have any relationship with the guy he was selling the gun to?
No, not that I know of. See, I don't know that because I don't even, I don't know because Jarron didn't live with me. Jarron had his own house, so I don't know. He usually tell me stuff, and I had seen Jarron like 12:45 that day. I had went over his house. We sit there and talked and stuff, and then I left and went home about 6:15. That's when she called me, and I jumped up and I went straight to Crest.
And so what day is that?
That's Saturday.
Is that April 14th?
Yes.
April 14th at 6 o'clock.
About 6:30, she called me, and she's like, he said, Jarron got in the van, they shot him, and they drove off, they sped off with him. I said, who? She said, the neighbor took him up there. I said, what? And then I'm like, huh? So I get in my car. I don't go to the apartments. I go straight to Crest. Mm-hmm. And when I get to Crest, it's some police in Crest parking lot. I'm like, can y'all tell me what happened over here? And then I seen them walking around and they looking on the ground spraying stuff. I said, is it blood or something over there? I said, because they told me that somebody shot my son and they drove off in a van. And the guy said, well, who is your son? Who is your son? And I told him who my son was. And then, then a few minutes later, the detective pulled up and he asked me, how did I get there? I said, his girlfriend told me that this is where he was, and the neighbor said that they drove off with him in the car. So then, therefore, I told the detective, I said, Jarron always call me, whether wrong or right, regardless of whatever he do, he's going to call me. Mm-hmm. I said, if Jarron don't call me by a certain time of the night, Jarron is either hurt bad or he's dead. One of the two, because if the guy, he told me that they shot him and he fell forward, either he's hurt and he can't call me or he's dead. One of the two.
So tell me what went through your mind when the girlfriend called you and told you that.
I panicked. I was nervous. I was shaking. I didn't know what to do. And then when I get to Crest and they spraying, and I said, "Is that blood?" They like, "Oh, it's a little bit." And then I found out that it was the front part of somebody's tennis shoe, like they tried to step out the van.
So did you go alone or did you have anybody with you?
Yeah, no, I had a friend with me.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a friend. She was in the car with me. But I went because everybody knows me. Jarron, if anything, Jarron, that's my baby. I'm going to go and, I love all my kids, but Jarron and me have a
strong relationship.
Yes, because that's my baby. He was the last one here with me before, he went to prison and got back, and, he called me every day. We had a communication. We talked all the time.
So you're at the scene. The detective said this is a little blood. So take me through the next process. What happened next for you?
Then I'm sitting there, and then somebody called and said that they found 2 bodies in a white van at the Crest on was it 100 and something?
104th and May.
104th and May. Yeah, so I panic. I'm driving because I'm going down there because I know that he was going to meet Alize. So I'm like, well, okay, it's 2 bodies, so I'm going to see if it's him. And I didn't know. And so I went down there, and when I get closer to the Crest, I don't see nobody. There's no cars, no nothing down there. So I drive off. I said, okay, somebody want to play a game. I don't got time for that. So I told the detective. He's like, well, man, we're going to investigate. We're going to do what we got to do. We're going to investigate. I said, well, you do your investigation. I'm going to do mine.
So at this point in time, you didn't really believe it was true. So you're trying to figure out what's going on.
Yes. I didn't know.
Okay, so the detective said that we are just investigating.
He said, we're investigating it right now, and we'll get back with you. And I never really talked to the detective no more until Wednesday. It was Wednesday. I can't think of the man's name. He came over here because people was calling me. They're like, they found Jarron. I say, huh? But I know that Jarron, I'm the next of kin. So I know they wouldn't air it on TV unless they talk to me first because he don't have a wife. I'm the next of kin. So I know if they found him, they would have, they was going to contact me. So Detective Robinson, he came over here and he said, Miss Moreland, we have 3 suspects in custody. So I said, you have 3 suspects in custody? He said, yeah. I said, well, is one of my son? Is one of them Alize? He like, no, we haven't found Jarron and Alize. I said, oh my God. He said, but by the end of the day, he said by the end of the day, Wednesday, or by Thursday morning, no later than that, because we have 3 suspects in custody, that I can tell you where your son is.
So what goes through your mind? I mean, there's guys knocking on the door, telling you this stuff, and you still don't have any answers.
I haven't been right ever since this happened. All I have been doing is I cry, I pray, and I ask God, whatever you do, God, please bring my son home to me, no matter what it is. Just bring him home to me so me and my son can have peace. I begged and I said, please, whoever have him, please just put him on side of the curb. Anything, just put him where I can get him. Just let me have my son. That's all I ask. That's all I want. It's my son. Just give me my son.
Did you feel at this moment in your heart that he had already passed away?
Well, by the time when Sunday morning came, I know that, I had a vision and it came to me that Jarron was either submerged in some water or he was in some woods. I didn't know which one of it was, but it came to me that he was in some woods or he was in some water. I didn't know which one it was.
We searched all day Sunday out in Norman Moore area.
So tell me how you guys, did you guys organize a search?
Me, her friend, my daughter, my children, we went down Franklin Road, Tecumseh Road. If you go straight down 12th Street and more, it goes into a lake area. I drove down that road, that rocky dirt road, until I couldn't drive anymore, and looked every crack, crevice that we seen, searching, trying to find, see if we seen anything.
So how were you doing it? Did you have a picture or something?
No, we were walking, just checking the wooded areas.
Well, see,
we did put up flyers on Monday.
Okay.
Yes, because Moore's Police Department put a poster up. So
Okay.
we made copies off of that poster. And I know if you find one of them, because they was last, Alize and Jarron was last supposed to been seen together. So I know if you find one, you'll find the other one.
Okay.
So that's when I put the posters up with both of them on there, because I know if somebody see one, they see one or the other could tell you where the other one was.
Okay.
Because we didn't know at that time that they were together, dead or not. We just knew that they were supposedly both being in this van.
Right.
So therefore, at that time, we didn't know, what had happened. We just knew that they were supposed to be in the van with these two guys.
Okay. So you guys are organizing, knocking on doors.
We didn't knock on doors. We just went and checked like the dumpsters out there, the wooded areas, the creek beds up under the underpass or bridges. Anything out there that that you could dump a body off the side of the road, we went through and checked.
So at this point in time, you're thinking that Jarron is gone.
We hoping that they didn't throw them out somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I prayed that they did. And then I was out there off of 12th, kind of close to the lake. I can't remember exactly how close. I was out there, I was walking around looking. This man pulled up in this white truck. He like, well, you on private property. I said, sir, I'm looking for my son. He said, you looking for your son? He said, but this is private property. The police going to come and tell you got to get off the property. I said, well, they can come and tell me I got to get off the property, but I'm just looking for my son. I said, have you seen the news? My son and his friend is missing, and I'm looking up and down here to see if they anywhere somebody threw them out somewhere and we can find them.
Let me slow down right quick, because you guys are saying something that is connecting. You guys are thinking that they have thrown the body somewhere.
I mean,
so what made you guys think that? Because sometimes people.
Because who would ride around with somebody knowing that you shot them? Driving with them. You have a description of the van. Description of the van was given to the police that day, so they knew they were looking for a white van. So if you're in a white van, common sense gonna tell you we can't stay in this van. We got to, they heard gunshots. We got to ditch this van, ditch these people. So therefore, my thing is, they're in more. It's the wooded area. It's so many woods going out more Norman. There's plenty of woods out that way. So I'm thinking, okay, they're not gonna drive back to the city and the police got a description of this van and nobody not see it. So I instantly Sunday morning we drove. Matter of fact, we drove Saturday night to 3 o'clock in the morning. Me and my daughter drove 3 o'clock Sunday morning down Franklin Road to Tecumseh Road, out that way, driving with bright lights, walking and looking, trying to see if we seen anything. We didn't see anything. Sunday morning, I got up. I said, I'm on my way back down. It's daylight. Let's go see if we can see anything. We got back up. We went back down there. They came down. I said, y'all tell me what road y'all going on so we won't be backtracking. We gonna go. We gonna split up and see if we can find anything. We would never would have thought that they had came to the east side up the street.
Wow. Wow.
I want to backtrack just a minute where you had said that the witness, the neighbor who came to Jarron's girlfriend, had said that she saw him slump forward. Now, in the little bit of the police reports that have been made public, they are alleging that Jarron and Alize were shot by the 16-year-old in the front. Can you give me your feelings about that? Do you feel like you're being told an accurate narrative?
My thing of it is, if you're shot by the front seat person and you're shot, you're not going to fall forward. You're going to fall backwards.
Right.
That's all to it. If you fall forward like that, somebody in the back seat shot you.
So do you have concerns that possibly Crystal Boettler or Johnny Shane Parker?
Well, see, the guy that took Jarron to Crest, he told me it was 3 people in the car. He said the third person on the back seat, you couldn't see him. And I figured that Jarron got in the van. He got in the van and realized that they had shot Alize, and he tried to get out, and then they shot him and pulled him back in there.
Right, I read what
because the tip of a tennis shoe was on the ground. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I feel like. Jarron noticed when he got in the van that Alize was shot, and he tried to get out, and they shot him. But still, that don't justify. The guy, when he told me that, I'm like, no, that's not true. Because if you're in a passenger seat and you turn around and shoot this person right here, they not going to fall forward. They going to fall backwards this way. So either the person on this side or the person in the back seat. So somebody else was in that van. And I really, really, truly don't believe the 16-year-old did it.
So you are. So we're gonna go. You're doing it. You're out there. You're looking.
We're out.
When you how
down,
were you
down.
notified?
When they found the body.
When they found the body.
The news media. We seen it on the news. When I left here, the detective came that morning. She called. She said the detectives is on their way. I don't know where they're going to, I said, we don't want you there by yourself. I'm on my way. I left work. I came over here. They had already came. We seen the news. We was watching the news, and then we seen the helicopter flying over. They said on 50th and Sooner Road, bodies found. I drove. I'm like, I'm just to go see. If they on 50th, I'm going over here. So when I seen it on the video, I went over there. But when I left, I went down Sooner Road. I never thought to go down 50th because I thought 50th was a dead end. So I went down Sooner. I left. I got to 23rd and Sooner, and my niece, which is her daughter, she called me back, and she told me, no, you got to come down 50th. When I got down 50th, we got there. The police were everywhere. They had it blocked up where we couldn't get up in there. They said that they had pulled them out and they just leave. They weren't sure that it was them. They just needed the medical examiner to arrive.
Yes, because the medical examiner, they told me that when the detectives came back, they told me that the medical examiner will be contacting me. He didn't call me. I called him.
So Mom, did you go out to the scene? Did you
guys
go out to the scene?
No,
I was there.
Okay. My daughter, my sister-in-law, my mother was there. I didn't go because I told them that if it's my son, that they will come back around this corner and tell me that was my son. It was about maybe 1 o'clock, 12:45. I can't remember. It was between 12:30 and 1. I was sitting in my car. I seen them come back around the corner. It was both of them. It was a detective that I met Saturday night when this first happened, and the one that came to my house that morning. When I seen both of them in the car, I already knew. But I knew that my son was either dead or he was hurt bad. I knew that because he gonna call me. He gonna call me. When he don't call me, and he didn't call me, like I told the detective, if he don't call me, something is wrong, and I know it is. I know it is.
What was the last words you had with your son?
Last thing I said to him was he was getting ready to take his girlfriend. I went over there. It was like 12:45. I was getting ready to leave, and he's getting ready to take his girlfriend to go get her son for lunch and take her back to work. I said, "Oh, lunch is on us, huh?" And he kind of laughed, and smiled. He like, "Mama, whatever, you want to go?" I said, "No, I'm good. I'm finna go home and cook me some breakfast. I got to taste some breakfast." But he talking about, "Well, I need to be following you." And then that was it. I never seen him. I talked to him ever again.
So they pulled the bodies out. They identified the bodies.
They had to actually go through the OSCPI to get them identified. Jarron laid at the morgue till Monday as a John Doe. And they finally had them to come fingerprint him to verify he was.
They didn't call you down? They didn't say, hey, this could possibly, you guys could go down and
No, they told me when they pulled him out of the pond that they knew that was him. Because I told them that right around his neck, he had a tattoo with his son's name on it, Jarron Jr., his son's day of birth. He had it on his chest. And, and they told me that they knew it was Jarron and Alize. And, I just don't know because it's so far. I mean, it's so unfair to his mama and me, because both our sons was 21. Just by the grace of God, I do have a grandson that I got of my son. Miss Smith don't got nothing. All she got is her memories, and it's not fair that these people was able to do what they did and just took our kids and did what they did to our kids. That's not fair.
So I'm going to ask you a question that is, it's going to take you guys back, and it's okay if you get emotional. We're talking about a loved one here. Talking to the Smiths, one of the things that Nate said, his father said that he bought him a $400 outfit, and he couldn't put it on him. And he mentioned to us that you guys didn't even have that opportunity, that you had to end up cremating.
Yes, I had to.
She chose to cremate him. We weren't able to get closure. The body was in such bad condition that they recommended that not anyone view him for us. Remember how we
because
saw
see,
him.
I had told them that I told them, you know, I told some of my family members that I would talk to the funeral home people and I would set up an appointment time where they can go view his body. The funeral home man recommended me not to let nobody see him, and he told me just for us to remember him the way that we know he is, because there'd be a horrifying memory in your mind that you'll never get rid of. So, but I had said, I prayed and I asked God. First of all, I asked God, please just bring me my son home, and however you bring him to me, good, bad, or ugly, that I was going to make sure nobody ever was able to hurt him or touch him again. So that's why I cremated my son, because he was already buried underwater, and I wasn't going to rebury him again. And, you know, and then he's out at the cemetery. I don't have to do that. I get up every morning, you know, I talk to him. You know, I got him in my house. I get up every morning. Good morning, Jarron. You know, I pick him up, I hug him and talk to him. And, you know, let Mom open the shade so I can give you some sunlight.
Do you remember how you guys as a family explained to this little guy,
Well,
sweet little man?
On Sunday, I took him home to his mama. And his mama said, she asked him what's wrong with him. So he told her, you know. And his mom said, no, I don't know. He said, my dad is dead. He said that on Sunday. Before
So he
we...
knew.
I figured either that or either I figured my son came to him in the spirit and told him that, son, I'm gone now and you got to be a big boy for daddy.
Jarron, you look handsome in your orange shirt today. Are you having a good Sunday? How old are you?
6.
6. What are some of your favorite things to do?
Play my game.
Play your game. My kids like their games too. Now, your Meemaw, is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Meemaw was telling me on the telephone about your football, that she loves to watch you play football. Was your daddy teaching you to play football?
No.
No. Who is teaching you?
Who took you to the football thing to sign you up?
My daddy.
What were some of the things that you like to do with your daddy?
Play him.
Play with him? Would he
Hold
wrestle
up.
with you? Oh, yeah?
Tell them how you feel. Tell them about how you feel about your daddy.
Mm-hmm.
You miss him? Hold your head up.
Do you ever talk to your daddy right before you go to sleep?
Yes.
You do? What do you say?
Tell her what you say. What you tell me? Tell her about you say your dad need to come back from heaven. Tell her.
Just pretend that camera's not here.
Yeah.
And some strange lady.
One can come back.
You do? If your daddy was here and could play with you on this Sunday, what do you think he would want to do?
Play game.
Oh, yeah? Did you like playing games? Like on a PlayStation? Oh, yeah, that's big stuff. Well, thank you for talking to me, Jarron. You sure are handsome.
What you say?
Thank you.
You guys have so many questions, right? But I know one of the main questions should be, why did you guys not just kill? Why did you have to mutilate?
Yes, that's my whole thing. Why? Because between 12 and more, they had plenty of places. If they was unquote supposed to be scared, they could have got out the van, stopped, and left. But my thing, they done did this before. I believe they did it before, and they done got away with it. But see, then when they met this time, they messed with the wrong people's kids, and a whole bunch of noise was behind it. Wasn't gonna let it go, because I wasn't gonna let it go. I wasn't gonna let it go because that's my son. I'm not gonna let it go.
So when you hear about all of how it went down and what was found at the scene, what do you guys feel? I mean, the chainsaws, the saws, the blood everywhere.
They
the
planned
Smiths,
it. Nobody's sitting around with chainsaws, tarps, swimming covers, hacksaws. Who has that on their property? This is something that they've done before. Cinder blocks. Why do you have cinder blocks sitting around, hacksaws sitting around? You got this sitting around just waiting. The pond needs to be drained. The property needs to be searched, dug up, not just drained, because they might have them buried. People, anybody else could be missing. People could be buried on their property. They just searched the pond, that particular pond, and left it alone. You know, that pond is like, they say it's like for cattle. It's a cattle pond. So just think, once the cattle walk through there, if they don't pinpoint and find them, we would have never found them. You know, and the cattle come in there, they're just gonna stomp them into the ground.
Yeah, they did, like I said, they did this before. This is not their first time. They did this before, and they done got away with it. You know, I haven't, people been telling me I don't know nothing about how to go on the internet. They, well, go look at their Facebook page, go see. And then they said that, I heard that the 40-year-old man, they say he from the Urban Nation. I have you say that.
Aryan Brotherhood.
Yeah, Aryan Brotherhood.
Let me ask you guys this. You are there and you're watching this unfold. Have you been in contact with the district attorney's office?
We got to meet. Me and Miss Smith got a meeting with them tomorrow.
Prior to that, have you guys been in contact with them?
No.
Are you satisfied with the charges that are being levied? Should the district attorney, because the one brother, the 22-year-old Kevin Garcia-Boettler, is not being charged with murder. He's being charged with accessory.
He should be charged with murder too, because he was a driver. He was in the car.
He was in the driver. He was driving. He was the one that had control of stopping. He had control of going to the hospital. He was in control.
Well, it's absolutely how they would be charged if, for example, if they put like gang affiliation on them, everybody in the vehicle.
Yeah, exactly.
If I go to rob a bank with you and you take me to the bank just because you gave me a ride to the bank and I got in a car with you and you drove, they would charge you with robbery. Yeah. So I don't understand how you can be the driver of a vehicle and be in control of being able to go to the hospital, go to the police. They could have went to the police department. The Marq Police Department is 1.5 miles away. You could have drove there, but you chose to bypass hospital and call your mother and drive to this property 10 to 15 miles away from Crest and Moore. So to me, he should be charged with murder, because one of those boys might could have lived had you drive to the hospital.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I have not been able to find where they are charging, through which court they're going to charge the youngest boy, Brett Boettler. I am concerned because I know he's being held with the juvenile authority right now. So the absolute biggest concern is that he would be charged as a juvenile. Even though if he's charged as a youthful offender, that will put a cap on the amount of time that he's able to serve. And I think it's 15 years. It may be longer. But youthful offenders, they can't sentence them to life. They definitely can't give them death.
Adjudication is what we seeking. He should be adjudicated as an adult.
Okay.
So tomorrow's the meeting, right? Mm-hmm. What are you going to, you have questions. What are some of the questions you're going to ask the DA?
To me, the mama's bond should be higher than what it is, because she played a main part into this. She got the lowest bond. How did you have the lowest bond? You told them to take them there. I haven't seen everything. I was told that she was washing the stuff. She helped them clean it up. So she was the mastermind. Why is her bond so low? If it would have been me and I was washing and cleaning some stuff that my son done, I'd have been in jail, and I have a bond so damn high. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I would. My bond would be so high, I wouldn't even be. I probably have no bond.
Were you aware that she tried to get bail on her own recognizances?
No, I didn't know that. And how can you do that? How can you feel like you can get bail on your word? You know what I'm saying?
They denied it, but she just attempted.
But how can you sit in your house? What kind of people are y'all? And then I heard it's like 3 or 4 families live on this property. How can you sit in your house as a mother and know that your sons, first of all, how can you be a mother and your sons call you and tell you that they got 2 young black males that they done killed in the car, and what you want us to do, and you tell them to take them to the property? How can you be a mother? What if that was your son?
When this news broke out, the first thing came out was this was a modern day public lynching. Do you agree with that phrase?
I do, because my thing of it is, regardless, I don't care what the DA, nobody got to say. Y'all had no business taking them to their property, dismembering their body, wrapping them up in a swim pool toy, throwing them in a pond. Y'all didn't think nobody was looking for them. Y'all didn't really y'all thought y'all did something y'all was going to get away with. Y'all had no clue. Evidently, y'all must have been watching the news. Y'all thought y'all was going to get away.
Do you feel like this was premeditated?
I believe that. I mean, but my thing was, I believe they planned something.
Like they pulled into the crest knowing what they were going to do?
Yes, because if that's the case, if you didn't know, and then I heard they said it was self-defense, how is it self-defense? So if they got in the van, y'all shot them. So how are they going to defend themselves? A gun wreck and it goes out 3 shots. You know, everybody in that metro area said it was 3 shots fired. And they seen the van speeding down the street.
With the door open.
With the door open and Jarron slumped over the seat.
Do you feel like race played a factor in this?
Yes.
I do.
I think it should be filed as a hate crime.
Yes.
And I'm going to keep pushing it until we can see if we can get it filed as a hate crime. Because nobody sits at home with hacksaws.
Yes.
Chainsaws, tarps, cylinders.
Masks.
They,
It leaves them out. If
Yeah,
you really were
masks.
even doing that in a panic, wouldn't you be, you see on the news that they're looking for these people, wouldn't you be trying to hide it? Just to leaving it out in the way that they found it, like...
Yeah,
It was a
because
factory.
they did it before and they done got away with it. That's why they was comfortable with it, because they done did it before.
And I don't
there has
believe it
done
was
it
over
before.
a gun either.
Yeah.
I don't believe it is over that. I think it was something else.
What do you think it
I
is?
think they was in the trade of liver and kidney, what do you call it?
Body harvesting, you know, organs.
Yeah, organs. That's what I believe it was in. I mean, over.
So,
Both those boys were healthy, actually.
Yes.
Yes, my son.
you know, that's one of the things that you just said, and I didn't even think about that. And I hate to ask this question, but I have to. Do you know if they had all their organs?
I don't know.
No idea.
I don't know.
We haven't gotten. Miss Smith has she's received the medical examiner's report. She just got her death certificate on Thursday, so we hadn't had a chance to get the medical examiner's report and review it. But tomorrow, after she leaves the DA's office, we're going to go try to get a hold to it and go through and read and see what we can find out and see what matches up with what their story is.
And find out if there were any organs missing. I mean, that's a good point there. You know, that is something that could be relevant. So my last question here: how has the community response been for you guys?
I mean, I really, really my family been helping me. You know, my family, been helping me. They've been there for me. I met Miss Smith on Thursday. You know, me and her talked, and things that she knows. She been calling me, and I've been, touching bases with her because me and her together, we lost our son, so me and her both have to stick together and so we can get justice for our son.
What would you want the community to do or help? How can the community help?
Right now, I'm asking everybody to help us get this pushed as a hate crime. Because there's no way that you can say it wasn't a hate crime when you take the time to mutilate. It takes time to mutilate a body. You can't, that ain't like cutting up steak. It takes time. And if you had that much time and train of thought to think about doing it, that's hate. I don't care how you look at it, it's hate. And
So, go ahead.
And they're saying that the DA is saying that it's not. And I want him to explain to me how he figures it's not hate when you take the time to mutilate one's body.
Yeah.
What would justice look like for you guys? What would be your ideal outcome for these defendants?
For one, the death penalty, for them never to be able to get out. I mean, because they didn't give me and Miss Smith's son a chance. They killed our sons, and then they took our sons and mutilated their bodies, so we couldn't get proper closure. When we did have to bury our sons, we still didn't get proper closure because was our sons. They created somebody else. Our sons that we know, that wasn't what they did what they wanted, what they did, but them weren't our sons.
So just to piggyback off what
Well, and I appreciated an analogy that she gave earlier where she said her son's in the picture and in her heart, but what they created was a monster.
Right.
I thought that was a really powerful
Yeah,
analogy.
it is. It was, you know.
You weren't able to see him.
I couldn't see. I couldn't see my son. I couldn't. I said that I couldn't look at him because I know anytime anything is submerged in water, it's not right. And
So the likelihood in these cases, there are plea bargains.
it don't need to be a plea bargain. They didn't get a plea bargain. They didn't get a chance. It wasn't fair to them. They didn't. Neither one of them, Jarron or Alize, didn't get a plea bargain. They didn't have a chance.
Didn't get a chance to plea.
They didn't get the chance to plead. And then they and on top of that, they killed him and then they took him and kept him. Why would you keep? Why would you keep them? Why? Why wouldn't you give them back? I know that they seen me on the news. I know they seen Jarron and Alize picture on the news. Why y'all just didn't put them on side of the road where somebody could see them and we could call 911 to get our kids back? I mean, even though if they was dead, we still would have got our whole kid back, not something that you cut up, chopped up, and did what you wanted to do. That's the monster that you created. That's not my son.
So court is next week.
Court is
It's
Tuesday.
They go
This
to preliminary.
Tuesday?
They go to
It's Tuesday.
preliminary hearing.
They have them broke down into 2 courtrooms at the same time, but we're going to split up. Some of us will be in with the brothers. Some of us will be in with the mother and the boyfriend.
And what time does that start?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock on the 21st.
And you're asking
22nd.
You're asking the community to come in and support.
Yes.
So Miss Mookie, you're back there. Anything that you have to say?
Just need justice
I want
for
justice
Alize
too.
and Jarron.
Do you have any? You've mentioned that you would like to see the pond drained and the property searched. Do you feel like it would be fair that the property be seized from this family?
I think
Yes,
Yes.
it should be.
In the way that, like, you
I mean,
see happen
anytime
with
you,
other
I mean,
crime
if you
scenes?
think that it's okay for somebody to throw somebody in, and bring someone to your property and throw them in your pond, you can't. You have to know that they did this. You own this property, even though it's a lot of land. You had to have overheard the conversation. You knew about it, and they're still there having events going on with daily life like it's nothing. Whereas we're having to cope with this on the daily. So I feel it should be seized.
Yeah, they shouldn't be able to. They shouldn't be able to. The property should be seized. They shouldn't be able to do nothing because
So, I mean, first of all, there could be evidence that has not been collected. It's a huge.
They never even closed it off. When the police were there, when I was there, the only area they focused on when we were there were around the pond, not around the other 200 and something acres that's supposed to be all to this land. Because the house is way down on the corner, and then they have all this other stuff that's on the property, and you can only see so far from where we were on the street. They had a little dirt road that curved around to the pond, and we were only able to see that through the media as to where we stood and as to how far the pond was from the road.
If you don't get the results, are you calling in for the federal government to come in?
Yes.
yeah, I want them to come in. I want
Yes.
I want justice for Jarron and Alize so they souls can rest. Because right now their soul is disturbed because they died of a horrifying death. And I just pray that to God that they was gone before they started mutilating their body, that they didn't endure the pain that they did to them.
I want to make sure it's nobody else that's involved.
Yeah.
And
Do you
check
have those
the
concerns?
whole, and yes, and the whole property, the whole entire, because it could be places buried somewhere else. Kids or somebody's grandmother, or brother, or sister.
Yeah, because they could have some people that's alive on that property and they just went to a certain part of the property. They could have people chained up somewhere else on that property because, I mean, I didn't go, but I heard that it's a big property. You never know. But I feel like the federal government need to come in and they need to go
They
through
wouldn't
their
have been able to search that property and go through it thoroughly in the day and a half that they went there. They would need to be there for some weeks in order to search the whole property. To go through it inch by inch, you would have to be there for a while. You wouldn't have been able to just go there and be done with it. That leaves invalid, that leaves room for error, margin for error, because you have all this land, and we focused on this area.